Hello, everyone, and welcome to another DC Universe Online live stream. My name is Meps. I'm your community manager, and today we are here to talk about the artifacts coming in Atlantis. I have special guests with me. We have lead systems designer Aver,
Hello, everybody.
and we have, on his first stream ever, Batuba,
Hey,
also
everybody.
a systems designer who's been working on these artifacts. Quick reminder, Atlantis goes out November 8th,
Yep.
which is next
Correct.
Thursday.
Super soon.
And these artifacts will go out with it, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yep.
Before we jump into these artifacts, though, how about what are artifacts in the first place? Do you want to just give the quick rundown of here?
Yeah, sure. So artifacts are items in the game that you get, and as you play through, you get nth metal, and you can level them up. Generally, they're themed after big, powerful items that you find in the DC universe, and so they're kind of a way to get your character to experience, having some really cool, legendary artifacts from, DC lore.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like they're super cool artifacts, right? These are powerful, iconic things most of the time, right?
So most of the time, I mean, most of them you can often find in DC lore. Sometimes they just exist in our universe.
Sure.
But one of kind of the functionalities that we like them to have is we like them to kind of expand your play styles, right? We want you to go in and say, hey, if you get this and you level it up and you get all the breakthroughs and all that stuff, you can do cool new things and focus, on activities and play kind of the way you like. You can specialize.
Okay, cool. So that's artifacts. There's a guide on our website, dcuniverseonline.com, with more info, and can ask us questions after the stream on the forums. If you're new to artifacts, if you're not new to artifacts, then you're just dying to find out what we did for Atlantis, right? So let's start there. Aver, you built these for Atlantis. How did the setting and the episode story and stuff impact what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so it actually this is the first time that we've associated artifacts directly with the content that we were building, right? And so Atlantis is a great place to do it. It's mysterious. It's expansive. There's a lot of magic going on. There are a lot of really cool settings that kind of provided ample ground or under this, I don't know, ample space really for us to kind of explore. And so, you'll be visiting different places that you can actually see some of these objects in, and some of the characters are really trying to get their hands on artifacts. And, the Silent School, for instance, is a place that you can go to, and, you'll either fight against, areas that have, some of these artifacts in them, or, itself, the Silent School is kind of a repository for these things. And so, you'll be seeing them in game, you'll be seeing characters that have gotten artifacts and become powerful and stuff like that. So really, it felt like a great fit. It felt like kind of like a no-brainer, like, hey, you should do this,
Awesome. All right, Juan, we're going to move on to the first artifact. Tell us more about the comic roots of where we went with the Manacles of Force. And I think we have some cool shots here.
Images there.
Yeah. Well, tell us about the comic roots, and then we'll show the images.
All right, so the
what are-
Manacles of Force,
Yeah.
they come from the dead king Atlan, using an extremely powerful character in the lore of Atlantis, and basically these are very he uses these to create protective shields to defend himself and his allies as well. So that would be the main aspect of them.
Mm-hmm.
Two of our artifacts actually are based around Atlan, and these are, I believe, 7 different powerful weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And these are just 2 of those weapons.
Right, yeah,
that have emerged for
7
these.
was too many.
Yes.
So we picked 2 that were interesting and that kind of fit with where we wanted to take players.
Awesome.
So.
All right, let's take a look at some comic book art for those manacles. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Super golden. Although the chains, maybe not comfortable.
Right. No, I don't imagine that they were super comfortable, but that's
If
fine.
you're
They're
swinging,
powerful, right?
You might be hitting yourself.
Well, you smash them together. Bam,
Apparently,
good,
yeah. So we went there. We went there for that. Okay. Let's go on to the second artifact, the Dead King's Scepter. Again, Juan. Where are we going with this one?
All right. Well, again, this is another one of the legendary weapons that King Atlan used actually to fight his brother Orion. And, well, apparently this artifact is so strong that it was able to cause earthquakes at brought Atlantis under the ocean.
Okay, that sounds overpowered.
It is overpowered, and
it does that. No, wait, sorry.
yes, that does not happen. Okay, so basically, what we wanted to do is we wanted to reflect this artifact with that kind of power, and to really emanate what this artifact is all about. So when we get into specifics, when are we getting into specifics?
After this,
Okay.
later.
In a little bit.
We will get into specifics about gameplay and stuff.
Right.
So that's basically the history. He uses this to cause earthquakes and bring Atlantis under the ocean.
So something that we tried with these ones that again we'll kind of show later on is that we felt that actually showing the item in what you do was really important, and so a lot of these things you'll see them in the comics, and then you'll actually get to see them in game, and we'll show you. I don't want to say too much
we'll
quite
get
yet, but that was a pretty exciting thing too.
Yeah. Okay. Just moving on. We got a third artifact. It's the Orb of Orion. Ver.
Right.
Tell us about where that comes from.
So the Orion is a mysterious character, kind of from the past. He's an Atlantean, and he had lots of magic, and he was immortal. And so, he had artifacts and whatnot. And so we kind of took the immortal magician and artifact thing and smashed them together and created the Orb of Orion.
I really like this guy.
Orion.
Orion, not Orion.
Not Orion.
Orion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nerd of Prey is in there. Let me know. Just
Ryan.
read what she writes. So
Yeah, that's good. So I mean, this is a comic art I pulled. He's kind of a badass dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's got crazy magic skills, and so we thought he was kind of a fun character to key some stuff off of, and you'll kind of see that symbol somewhere, in many places. So,
And you probably said this, but I wasn't listening.
Oh, yeah.
This is a thing that's just in our universe, right?
Yes, this object is just in our universe, much like the next one we'll talk about.
Okay.
It's not directly from comic lore.
Okay. Well, let's just go to the next one then.
So, Orion is obviously.
Right. The next one is the Eye of Gemini.
Right.
What's up with that?
So the Eye of Gemini is actually really cool, and that is one that you'll specifically get to encounter in the Silent School. I don't want to spoil too much, but you'll be able to see different manifestations of the Eye of Gemini, and that's actually something that's kind of core to its theme, is that there are different manifestations that do kind of different things, and so it was a really fun one to develop and kind of attach the visuals and kind of the experience of the content, convey at least some of that in the actions you get to do and stuff. So
That's awesome. Okay, we're gonna get in game shortly, but let's talk a little bit about how we design these. Aver, you kind of touched on it a little bit with wanting to branch out in different play styles, but how do these four kind of specifically set up that kind of end game, or your end game goal of making the artifact system expand play styles?
Right. So if you guys can remember way back in the day for Stats Revamp, not that long ago, but we, as we went through and we kind of looked at the back end systems, which is super exciting for us, we were able to set it up in such a way that we could create kind of like handholds or like open up space, with not only our tools but the game systems, so that we can make new items that change the way you play and kind of allow you to focus on things that you find interesting. And so this is a large addition, I'll say, to the artifacts available, and they open up options for you to do things that maybe you don't normally get to do, which hopefully will be a lot of fun, and will continue to add new play styles and new ways to advance those play styles and add kind of options and whatnot. And this is one of our major attempts to kind of bring that to the forefront. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we show you individual ones.
Yeah, sure.
But that's sort of the gist of it. And I've made a couple forum posts and stuff about it, but it's kind of picking up steam. So.
And Juan, you designed most of these, right? Like the actual in-game implementation.
That is correct.
That is
a lot
correct.
of team effort, though.
Sure, of course. Systems is a good happy family down there.
So happy.
And I say down there because you guys have moved down to your fancy new office, but
sad.
nobody cares about that. Okay. You designed these specifically to have some synergy with other artifacts, right? You don't have to go into which artifacts go with which right now, but what's your goal there? Why do that?
My goal is to start looking at how artifacts might interact with other artifacts. So I want to start looking at having certain synergies between them, and this includes older artifacts, current artifacts, and future artifacts as well. And so that way, as Javier was saying, Javier was saying before,
surprisingly difficult to say. My bad.
Was saying before about creating builds. So we want players to start looking at these artifacts and saying, hey, if I match these 3 artifacts together, I feel like a good synergy between them, and it allows me a new kind of gameplay. So we want them to have that kind of competitive gameplay.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Like, sorry, I'm interjecting. On the systems team, we enjoy lots of TCGs. We enjoy board games and stuff like that, and the options that those sorts of games provide, and many other video games and stuff as well. But so we're really kind of keying on that combination, being able to combine things for different effects and stuff. So
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna jump in game now, and that's the background to these artifacts. We wanted to share a bit about our design and our goals and that kind of thing. Hope you enjoyed that. Now we're going to tell you about the actual things that you've come here to learn. First of all, Juan, how do you get these in Atlantis?
So you get them just by running regular content. So by completing the solo, you'll get the Dead King Scepter. By completing the alert, you'll get the Eye of Gemini, and they're just given to you.
Yeah, just as missions, right?
Correct.
Yeah, as part of missions.
These
So
will be on your journal as soon as the content begins, and you'll be able to hit the complete button as soon as you're done and have your artifacts.
nice. So relatively easy
yes.
to acquire these artifacts. Okay. Of course, you do have to level them up after you acquire them. I think we're starting with the Manacles of Force. Who wants to drive?
No, you play.
We could do like a tandem mode where I can use the keyboard and you can use the mouse.
All
No,
right.
It's up to you.
This is gonna be a mess because he
That's
plays
awkward.
inverted.
Oh,
and
here,
I don't.
just
No, this isn't
switch
weird.
it. It's fine.
You play inverted?
Yes.
Who does that?
Everybody.
That's not true. We have
plays
one
games?
systems
Chat.
designer that does that, and he goes around and ruins all of the testing PCs for
Well,
everybody. And you sit down.
I
and
hate
you're
to
like,
break it to you, but he is
That's-
absolutely correct, and you are wrong. So
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So
False.
now it's broken, and you can
So
know
I
how to
get-
learn to use a mouse. Okay.
Are we in game now? Or
Yes,
okay.
we're looking at the game,
Can I open
and
inventory and
yes,
look at them? Ooh,
let's
shiny.
show the manacles and equip
Alright.
them maybe.
Equip
Yeah,
them
let's see.
first. Are we looking at the UI or just equipping?
Boom.
Let's look at the tooltip
Okay.
and explain what it does.
All right. So, do you want to talk about this one or?
Oh, you moved off here.
Oh, sorry. So,
There you go. So yeah, here I'll kind of jump into it. So like I mentioned before, we kind of wanted to give you options for different ways to play, or at least help you in specific scenarios in the game. And so the Manacles of Force are a tank recommended item, though really a lot of people can make use of them if you don't like dying. You'll probably like this one. And so the idea here was that tanks or anybody really are often afraid of taking a large portion of health at one time, and so we wanted to create kind of a fail-safe for that, and then have that interact with shields in an interesting way. So,
yeah.
Very cool.
So the actual effect of it is on every 30 to 25 seconds, depending on your rank. If you take 25% or more of your max HP and damage
In one hit.
in one hit, you will become unshakable. So for the next 3 and then later on 5 seconds at higher rank, you will be taking 50% less damage, and that other 50% that you absorbed will be given to you over time. So this will help blanket out that damage. So not only can you pop a shield afterwards to help mitigate those damage ticks, but also healers. It'll help healers out a lot to keep tanks alive. Not just tanks, this is also pretty good for healers as well, because you also have another thing called Resolute, which reduces all cooldowns on your shields by 10%. So hopefully there's a synergy between not only the proc but the shield afterwards to help mitigate that damage tick that you're taking.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And they have some pretty cool looking effects to them too.
Oh,
Oh, speaking of the effects, let's show the effects right now. If you
Oh man, let's see how do we. Oh, there's I got the keyboard.
with
going
your
on.
powers combined, we can run
Here we
forward
go.
in a video
Activate
game.
and just turn around, I guess.
Here, are we ready?
We're
Yep.
ready.
Ready?
Go for
All
it.
right, activating. Oh, turn. You have the mouse.
No, dude. All right. So as you can see, you'll have the manacles, large golden manacles, and which will show when you have that buff. And you'll also be seeing these little particles flying at you, and that's the damage over time that you're taking. So the damage over time might outlast the actual buff itself, because it'll last from the last time you took damage until the end of the duration of those damage ticks. So should we try?
Yeah, let's show it a
Yeah, we can
couple
try
more times.
So what we kind of tried to do with these ones, as I mentioned earlier, is show the actual artifact itself, on the character, near the character, whatever. And so you'll note, that those are the Manacles of Force. They flash in, they've got cool particles, and there's some fun sounds and stuff as well. But we really want to tie, the actual feeling and the look into your character, so that you can be a part of that lore, which I think is pretty cool, and turned out really well here. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. No, any questions from the chat channel on Manacles?
So many questions.
Let's see. Lots of talk about ice
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
awesome.
That's weird. Yeah, I don't know why they
All right,
connected that.
moving on.
That's
Let's
the test name we had for these were the Manacles. Yeah.
Manacles.
Yeah, people were asking about it.
I don't get it.
No.
Yeah. All right. That's what we referred to them as.
Oh, that was their code
We were
name.
calling them Manacles. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome. Yeah. I like confiding things in UMFs. I guess.
Yeah, I see. Okay, let's talk about the Dead King Scepter. Juan, what were you doing? How's it work?
Okay, so Dead King Scepter, as I said before, we're looking to create something that feels very powerful, just because the artifact lore is extremely powerful. Imagine it creates earthquakes that could bring Atlantis under the ocean, so we want an ability that could reflect that kind of damage within our universe. And so what we thought was, well, Orbital Strike does a lot of damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens if we buff up Orbital Strike some?
Right,
So,
and sorry to
No,
interrupt.
go ahead.
But kind of one of the things that going back to talking about options, which you'll probably get tired of hearing from me. But in this case, we picked an area, Orbital Strike, and trinkets and whatnot to highlight and to kind of create like a foothold or an area that we're able to possibly expand upon later. In multiple areas, obviously Orbital Strikes or any of these sorts of trinkets that you may get bonuses for the second breakthrough. And so we're just, as we're going along, we're kind of sprinkling in these different mechanics that we may or may not be able to expand upon in the future. But yeah, so that's kind of fun for this one.
Correct. So this one, you'll be reducing the cooldown of Orbital Strike by 25%.
Okay.
Then also another interesting aspect is we're also reducing the cooldown of all your other active trinkets like Combat Pent, Henchmen, Supply Drop trinkets by 10%.
Nice.
Which is also a DPS increase if you consider the Henchmen and everything attacking 10% more often. Then also the Orbital Strike normally has 5 times that it strikes a target or multiple targets, and now it'll strike 6 times. So an additional 20% damage basically. Of course, numbers are subject to change in testing.
Right.
We should have
that's
mentioned
my
that.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we, when after these get to PC test and we test them, sometimes big changes happen. Sometimes we need to tweak things. We've play tested them quite a bit internally, but we're always surprised by the creativity of our players and everybody. So we'll get out there and see how they look.
Yeah, definitely
and adjust as needed.
Definitely looking for your feedback once we're on test.
Yeah.
Subject to change.
And
All right. Yeah.
as Avir was mentioning before about synergies with other artifacts, what's interesting is some of the artifacts, our design position is also leave some of our artifacts open to future synergies. So, for example, the reduced cooldown on other trinkets
Mm-hmm.
might be something that we look at in the future. But again, that's the design philosophy behind them, is to keep an open mind on how these artifacts could communicate with each other.
Awesome.
So let's see it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
sure.
want to see it in game.
Oh, let's do.
Man, we're showing them all the codes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
What,
Sorry.
That's cool.
You can use the well.
all right. So we have some do not use goons.
Uh-oh.
All right. What angle should we show this in?
That's fine.
Just from the player.
Okay.
That's fine, yeah. Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
see.
So, well, let's just show it, and then we'll talk about it, I think, right?
Boom. Yeah, so effectively you're kind of using the Dead King Scepter kind of as a focus, or something to draw power from, and so it appears in front of you, and there are multiple tiers of visuals that are added up as you go through the different breakthroughs, right? And so in this one, you see, bam, the big scepter that appears in front of you, which looks like the icon and looks like the comics, and is really tied in and kind of fun. And then as you upgrade it, you'll see the particles fly back and kind of infuse you with more power, and you can kind of see that here in a second. Oh, you're in God mode a second.
I think there's just lag.
Oh, that's fine. So yeah, you can see the particles infuse you, and they upgrade over time. So that's pretty cool.
Juan, let's use this for commands,
Okay.
Boom.
Perfect.
if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Secrets.
Do you want to show that again? Or you think that's
Yeah,
good?
no, let's
We
show
can
it
try it
one more
again.
time.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Dodging out of the way.
that's how I roll.
Excellent.
Get it?
The puns are real.
Indeed.
No, you need to do that again.
Sorry, guys. There we go.
All right. So as we said, we're still testing some stuff, and there you go. You didn't target him, but that's fine.
That's fine. It's just to
Target
show the
yourself.
effect.
Yeah.
Boom.
Boom. You used all of that power to explode yourself.
Nice.
Cool.
Question from the
Looks cool.
chat.
Mhm.
Going back, we acquire these from missions.
Correct.
Can you complete the event content to complete
Yes.
these missions?
Mhm.
Yes, you can. So these are open for everybody, at least while the event is running.
As long as you're level 10 or higher.
Great. Yep.
Yep. Level 10.
Cool.
Cool.
Shall we?
You got some loot there.
Shall.
All right.
Oh, ruining my UI.
What do we have next here? What's going on? The Orb of
It's
Orion.
yeah. Ryan. Ryan.
Right. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So this
Showed
this
off.
one, boom. Here we go. This one's pretty cool. We actually went back, and the goal here, like we said, we want to change play styles, or we want to allow you the option to change play styles. And so this one affects your priority heals and actually makes it more potent, but also increases the cooldown and opens up space for you to do things, maybe other than just spam heals. And so what we want to allow you to do is still have amazing healing power, but also give you space to make some options and kind of do something else. And then there's sort of a mini game to figure out how much efficiency you're able to kind of eke out of this artifact. And so I won't go too much. You can read it there, and then Batuba here can explain some of the kind of the details. But yeah.
All right, perfect. So I just saw a question on chat.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, artifacts are rank 160 maximum.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So just wanted
No
to
change.
put that
Yeah,
out
that's-
there.
yeah,
no
Exactly,
change.
there's
Yeah,
no
that's what it is.
change. So as you were saying, this artifact is really good for healers. Basically, it gives them a little breathing room.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, priority heals is like your spammable heal. It's about a 0.5 second cooldown.
It's real fast.
So it's real fast, and its heal amount is kind of marginal.
So who does it heal real quick? as a kind of a
So
refresher?
priority heal heals the healer as well as the lowest health target in your group. So what we wanted to do is increase all those values by 300%, basically.
Okay.
It's a big deal.
So you're doing 300% more priority heal. You're doing also 300% more power cost and 300% more cooldown. So I mean, cooldown's about a second and a half. So it's 300% sounds like a lot more.
Right.
Yeah.
But so basically, what happens is you're going to summon this spectral acolyte, and this acolyte's going to be healing every 1.5 seconds of your base priority heal. So it's going to be healing you and the lowest heal target every 1.5 seconds. So at lower ranks, it should heal, I believe, 4 times, and then at higher ranks, it should heal 6 times.
Right, it goes from lasting for 6 seconds to 9 seconds. And what's interesting about this is that after 1.5 seconds, when your priority heal cooldown is available again, you can use it again if you'd like, but you can only have 1 acolyte out at a time. But if you're able to and you don't require that big burst heal, you can just kind of let them go for however long it's going to be, and really eke out quite a bit of efficiency. And so, it works as a kind of as a solo healer, or even kind of like as an off healer, or maybe if you're playing solo and you're having a difficult time, you're able to use it. And so, I actually find this artifact a lot of fun to just kind of try and see what scenarios I can survive through with it. So it's kind of neat. But,
nice.
Let's see. So we mentioned the Orion being kind of a figure in the Silent School and stuff like that, and you'll see kind of a symbol everywhere. And so the Spectre Acolyte also looks like some NPCs that you may be seeing in the Silent School. So let's pull them up and see what's up.
Sure.
You gotta. Perfect.
All right. I believe Nerd was telling us that this NPC is behind an invisible wall, so let's summon a new one.
Oh yeah,
it's invisible.
That's what she meant.
We didn't know.
All right. So there's a new one. Reason I bring this up is let's take a look at your HP real quick. So we're gonna hurt ourselves. Okay. Don't try this at home, kids.
It's a safe environment.
And we should be in healer spec too.
Perfect.
Okay, it's just to keep us in combat. So.
All right. Very nice.
All right, here we go.
Boom.
Oh, look at that.
What?
He's good.
You don't have your numbers up.
That's fine. So those priority heals will be similar to your base priority heal, and so it's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, that'll be healing both you and the lowest heal target at all times, and that will be a smart heal at all times. For example, if the last heal it did made somebody else higher than its previous target in health, or however, it'll jump targets. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, with each cast, he essentially reprioritizes, and so should be quite efficient. He could be he or she.
Yeah, and it's our hopes that with this time that the pet is out, the healer has other options available to them that they're able to either attack or do other kind of heals.
So what was one of the things that you found effective while during playtesting and throughout design? Were there other artifacts or anything that you felt were synergistic, or that you would use your time doing?
So, for example, since this has a high power cost, I find that using like the Demon's Fang is extremely useful during this time, because those next 6 attacks that I do are generating power back for me, and I have the time to do that. And I have the time to then look at raid mechanics and make sure I'm not standing and stuff, or I might have to block at a certain point, and this really helps have me a little peace of mind as I'm healing.
Yeah, I like that it kind of shaves some of the like the rough corners off, right? Like it's playing DCO is action, right? Like it's full of movement, and the mechanics are moving you around a lot, and so what this allows you to kind of think about that, and then gives you options to either move, like you were saying, and avoid mechanics, or rally somebody or something like that, and that's really nice being a healer. So.
What's the cooldown on the acolyte itself?
There's no cooldown. You just can't have 2 acolytes at once. So as soon as that acolyte flies off,
how long does it last?
So at lower ranks it lasts about 6 seconds, and at higher ranks it lasts 9 seconds.
Okay, there you go. Yep. Cool. Do you want to show it again? Maybe not in God mode. I think.
Oh yeah. So you have to make sure your hit points are lower and whatnot.
Sure. I got to keep remembering to use this button, or else I get yelled at.
Boom. Don't forget God mode.
I will.
Don't forget it.
Sorry. There we go. So you can see that was a huge burst heal right there.
Yeah.
And then
there we go.
So now the pet is just sitting there healing. You won't see numbers now because I'm above max HP now. So
yeah, but if you were grouped up,
you see, and now I can just summon him again.
Nice.
But you can see it's a large power cost for the player. So the longer you let your pet out to do things for you, the more mana efficient it is for you.
Right. Yeah. So, like we were saying, with options, oftentimes there's lots of trade-offs and whatnot, and so I wasn't going to say anything. There's sometimes trade-offs, and so in this case, in order to get that extra time, you take a larger chunk of power right off the bat, but you don't lose any efficiency, at least in the current iteration, and so it's not too painful. So, yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Cool.
I think we're on to
we got one more, folks.
All right. Let's see.
best for last.
The best for last. This is a very visually impressive one, right? And so the last one is the Eye of Gemini. Check that out. So that's a lot of text, lots of colors and stuff. But as we were mentioning earlier, there's lots of manifestations of the Eye of Gemini and whatnot in the Silent School. And when you get in the content, you'll get to kind of experience some of that. But in this case, we wanted to make an artifact that worked with supercharges, because we find supercharge a very interesting mechanic to kind of build up to a point and then have like a giant effect that's really impactful and fun, right? And so being able to trigger things off of that sounds like we can work towards even a larger impact. And so that's what the Eye of Gemini does, is when you use a supercharge, it will actually proc one of two fields, and I'll let Batuba describe that. But what we really wanted to do was help you capitalize on a big impactful moment and make it even more impactful, and do that by communicating with your group. So
quick question. What role is this artifact for?
Oh man, it's for all of the roles.
Everybody
can use
Everybody
this one.
wins on this one.
Yeah.
And we'll go through that here.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So as you can see, first little point is this artifact gives you already 3% to precision, dominance, restoration, vitalization, and might.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any artifact like that.
Right. That's the
Stats.
first time.
Just stats.
Straight stats.
That's the first time we've done that.
So yes, and the design behind that is that we want this artifact to be viable and interesting for all roles, and which is also interesting, the fact that since everybody's got 2 roles, this is an artifact that you might want to be using on both. So
extra good.
To kind of interject with one thing, the stats, I know that your primary stats in this case are going to be a little bit lower. So if you're a healer or something, you're going to get a little bit less restoration. But we put special things in the procs to kind of make up for that and to ease maybe some of that pain. So sorry.
All right. So let's go over what this artifact does. So this artifact, upon casting a supercharge, any supercharge, you'll drop a field underneath you. So essentially you'll have the gaze of one of the eyes of one of the Gemini twins that is placing their attention on you, and depending on your role, you'll have a different kind of field that you place under your feet. So if you're a DPS or a controller, you're going to drop a field that accumulates all damage done while anybody in that field does damage. It'll accumulate 20% of that damage and do it as a nuke to everything around you after the field fades.
How long does it last?
The field will first last 3 seconds, and later on it'll last 6 seconds.
Nice.
So if I drop this field, everybody's damage that they do, they'll still do their normal damage, and then after that, an additional 20% damage from what everybody did will count as my DPS towards everybody else.
Right. It's actually this one is deceptively powerful, because with the upgrade, so it starts at 3 seconds is how long the field lasts for, and then at 6 seconds you're effectively doubling the amount of damage that you can accumulate and put out, and so that breakthrough is actually quite significant. And then we have, of course, the regen stuff in there as well.
Correct. Since controllers drop this as well, this is also going to give you 1% power back per second, and this power will also affect controllers, which is nice. A little self-regen for controllers as well. And at higher ranks, this will also provide, and this particular bonus will be for both fields, will give you 1% supercharge back every second, and that's for everybody in this field.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I see a quick question. Somebody asked if they stack with each other. So so the major effects stack with each other. The regen effects do not stack with each other. So if you have the supercharged one, really is the only one I believe that does not stack. But the health and the accumulation and the power, that can all happen at the same time.
And so the next field will be if you're either a healer or a tank. You'll drop a field that will heal everybody in it for 3% of their max HP every second. And at the end, there will be like a little explosion heal for all that healing ticks that you took. You'll take that same amount as one big burst heal at the end. So if you healed 9% of your health over 3 seconds, you'll get another 9% heal burst at the end for a total of 18% healing.
Right. Yep. And at max rank, that's what is that? 32.
Yeah.
Numbers.
Yeah.
So
36.
what's really cool about this is, for example, healers, they might want to start looking at using maybe the shield supercharge instead of the heal supercharge, because since you're getting a heal from this field, maybe the shield, if everybody's low, you give them a big shield and they're going to heal up through the field. It gives you different options for different abilities you might want to put on your bar. Some people might now want to, instead of using a 50% supercharge, go for a 25% supercharge to put this.
Maybe I tried that out.
Question from chat: when this is the controller damage one, does orbital strike damage count? No.
It's only superpowers. Any ability that you use, not trinkets, basically.
Okay. Good to know.
And what else was there?
We should show it off. I think that.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's
yeah.
essentially it. Yeah, for the effects.
Yes.
All right.
Bring
Let's
it
take a look at.
This also has really
Prettiness.
strong synergies with Scrap of the Soul Cloak.
Yes.
Really strong synergy.
Yeah. So I enjoy testing out and playing supercharges, and so I was super excited when the Tuba had suggested doing a supercharge proc. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed testing it and kind of seeing how I can play with those numbers and stuff.
People are asking how large the field is, so we're going to show you
gonna show you.
right now.
So this is the heal one. I think I'm healing myself twice now because whatever supercharge I just used. I'm not sure which supercharge that was. But basically, yeah. So this green area is the field where any players can stand in, and they'll receive that effect. They'll receive the heal over time, and then at the end there will be a little heal burst.
Cool.
Or you can say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe if we get out of God mode, you have a particle around your feet that's applied, but I could be...
I think I removed that.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Question:
in-game development. Yeah.
Is the 1% supercharge that the group's gaining back? That's only when you're in this field too. Right?
Correct.
Yeah. So everything
all
is in
effects
this
are
field.
only while in this field.
Okay.
So our hopes is players start communicating more with each other and start planning out strategies. Be like, hey, everybody, I'm about to use my supercharge. Stand in here. We're gonna get a big damage boost, or we know there's a large wave of damage coming. Let's stand in this healer or tank circle and let's help mitigate this damage that's coming through. So
cool.
Yeah, it was something. It was something that I found myself, during playtesting, saying, "Oh man, I'm about to use my supercharge. Like, where should I be standing? Normally stand out of the way, or try not to, in some cases, try not to clump up, or don't be in front of your target and stuff like that." And so this helped me think more about positioning, and then I felt that the payoff was rather large, right? Like you can use them. You can either make a build that focuses on proccing it as much as possible, or being able to use, or just think about using your supercharge at an opportune time when maybe you need the effect and stuff like that. And so there was lots of ways to use it. And even though the field isn't giant, you can fit a lot of people in there, and it applies to everybody in a group. So.
And Silky Paws brings up a good point there. So everyone standing here, Boss Wipes group, that is definitely a possibility. So it's about knowing when's the opportune moment to drop these things.
There is risk involved.
There's risk involved. Risk versus reward, So
let's show the
DPS
let's see
one.
the other one.
So, okay, we have a couple supercharges. Do we have an attack here? Because I kind of want to see.
Celestial. Oh, you just want to...
Just wants to do some damage.
I see.
Yeah.
Is this for group members in the field or anybody in the field?
Anybody in the field.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, group
No,
members. Sorry.
no, I was like,
members.
that
I was
doesn't
like, wait.
sound right.
No,
It should be. It should be
it's group members.
in the
Yes.
field.
All right. So let's see. So ignore the heal because that's just the supercharge. But
Right.
so you can see this one's an orange one, and then when it disperses, it should do damage to the target.
There you
So
go.
that would be the damage. So as you can see, I just did 3 little attacks. It did 2,000 damage right there. So imagine 20% of people doing insane DPS. You
Right.
know, it's a huge damage boost.
What's kind of fun is if you have a lot of people kind of focusing on supercharges and stuff like that, you can kind of layer them and end up, you know, having these up fairly frequently and accumulating a significant amount of extra damage as long as you do coordinate. And as mentioned, you know, in some cases there'll be negatives, but it's kind of a trade-off, and it's something that, you know, if you're going to change the way you play, we're hoping that it's worth it. I mean, the numbers say it's worth it, and so you just have to kind of be mindful. But yeah.
And getting into that, how should players test these artifacts? What information do you want from them when these hit the test server today?
Right. So wait, when?
Today.
Today.
Yeah.
They're ready, right?
They're ready.
I think we're good.
I
So
Did I lie?
No.
I think it's today.
I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely today. So really, we're looking for anything. So we have done, you know, a significant amount of internal playtesting, and you know, we wanted to give you guys a chance to give feedback and talk about, you know, are they powerful enough? Are they perhaps too powerful? You know, if there are any visual glitches or anything that you find weird that's maybe inconsistent or
Sure.
something like that. And of course, you know, there are a lot of experts that go out and play test and you know, having any insight that you want to post about you know, specific builds that would use it, or really anything like that. Like, we're pretty open to feedback, and we like to try and be as responsive as possible. And
Sure.
so you know, obviously anything that's game breaking and explodes stuff is pretty high priority. But really, we just, you know, get out there and have a conversation about it and tell us what you think.
Cool.
Yeah.
People are asking again to have explained to them what happens when multiple people use the fields for the
I
eye.
can take that. Okay, so let's say 3 DPSers throw down the field at the same time. Every person that dropped the field will get that accumulation of everybody's damage. And again, this is only accumulating your white damage, yellow damage. So basically auto attacks, abilities, supercharges, that kind of thing. So it's not going to be picking up any kind of trinkets or
Right.
or anything. So if you have 3 fields stacked, you should be getting the damage effects from 3 different fields, personalized to each person that dropped it. And at the end of that, the only thing that won't mix is like the supercharge bonus. You won't. If you have 3 fields, you're not going to be getting 3% per stack, or 3% per tick. You'll only still get that 1%. So basically, you can stack if that's what you want to do, but to optimize yourself, you probably want to do it one after another.
For healing, do the heal stack?
I believe not.
I don't think they do. I think the persistent effects generally don't.
Okay.
So that's usually how that works.
But don't quote me on that.
We'll find out on
This
test.
we're here to be quoted, so we'll see. Get out there and let us know. No, I don't believe they stack. I'm pretty sure they don't.
And obviously, one of each don't affect each other. So if a healer drops one and a DPS drops one, all good.
Yeah, yeah, they're independent. So.
Okay. Well, that's it. They're coming out today on test.
On test,
You get them through missions in Atlantis, and you can level them up when Atlantis launches.
That's right.
Perfect.
Did we miss anything, guys? Anything
I
at
don't
all?
think so.
No, not that
No?
I.
Okay.
I will
So-
find out in a minute.
So yeah, look for synergies. Look
Yeah.
for synergy with current existing artifacts, and it is double XP weekend for, isn't it, for artifact?
For artifacts, yes, you might want to get one that works. You know, leveled up might be a good idea if you're hanging on to some nth metal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you on test in a little bit, and we'll see you November 8th when Atlantis launches. And just a quick plug, tomorrow we're doing an Extra Life charity live stream starting at 8 a.m. Pacific time. It'll be about 12 hours long. We're just going to have fun all day long. Come, stop by, hang out with us. Should be amazingly fun. Okay. We'll see you guys next time.
All right. See you guys later.